I'm Tamzin. Welcome to my Illidan Tactical Guide. Now that many more guilds, including less hardcore guilds, have the chance to reach Illidan, especially now the achievements have been removed, or if you've just joined a BT guild and need to catch up on tactics if you've not done them before, or perhaps you don't even do PvE but want to see the Illidan encounter properly, I've made this movie for you. The online tactics seem complex and daunting when viewed on paper, and to this day most contain errors and are not the best tactics to be used anyway. But the tactic we have developed for Illidan is a nice one, I feel, so we would like to share it with the Warcraft community at large. So, the fact that you're even at Illidan means you know how to play, so I won't bore you and bother spelling everything out about every single class, so just consider this movie as a guide, and your guild can tweak the tactics however suits you best, and everything you need to know is contained within this movie. Let's list its various phases and abilities, and then we can get on with the show.
I should have slaughtered you and your malformed brethren long ago.
We've come to end your reign, Illidan. My people and all of Outland shall be free.
Boldly said, but I remain unconvinced.
The time has come. The moment is at hand.
You are not prepared!
Okay, so let's get started. Phase 1. When Akama and Illidan have finished their slagging match, the battle begins. So everyone needs to be standing ready in the center of the grate here, with Illidan tanked off to the side over here, making sure he's facing away from the raid at all times. So obviously the tank goes here. This way you can ensure only the main tank will ever get affected by Draw Soul. This phase is basically tank and spank, but there are a few little things to mitigate. Use shield block to block the shears Illidan will do on the main tank, and when Illidan jumps up in the air and smashes down to use his flame crash ability, just kite him along this path, so you can keep yourself and the melee out of the flames he makes on the ground. Make sure when you kite him, the melee never gets in front of him, so they don't get Draw Souled. Now, for the Parasitic Shadow Fiend debuff, have a couple of mages at the ready here, over to the side, with a healer assigned ready too. And keep a frost trap up here as well. And whenever someone gets affected with a Parasitic Shadow Fiend debuff, they just run over to here so the Parasitic Shadow Fiend can spawn from them safely, away from the raid. As soon as it spawns, run away from it and the mages Frost Nova and kill the Shadow Fiends. They should rotate their Frost Novas to ensure one of them always has it cooled. If you're a ranged DPS class, then help the mage kill your Shadow Fiends too. If the main tank ever gets the debuff, then immediately simply back away until the Shadow Fiends are killed by ranged DPS. Never let a Shadow Fiend reach anyone in the raid, so kill them fast. Carry on like this, nuking and kiting and taking care of the Shadow Fiends, and once Illidan reaches 65% HP, Phase 2 will begin. Let's take a look then at Phase 1, so you can see what it actually looks like in practice. Okay, so there you see his first flame crash. See how the tank kites him away a bit, so that neither him or the melee gets in it? Notice also how he kites him in a wide circle. This is important so that later in Phase 2, there is no flame crash residue in the way of the elemental kiting phase. More on that later. Right, you get the idea of that. So let's take a look at the Parasitic Shadow Fiend thingy. Remember, anyone who gets affected by it must run away over this point over here, where a couple of mages and a healer are at the ready to deal with the Shadow Fiends that will spawn out of people. Here you can see someone who has the debuff running over to that point. Mages Frost Nova it and kill it. And from another view, Now we have Illidan down to 65% HP, phase 2 begins as you saw. It gets hardcore now, baby. Oh yeah. Illidan flies up into the air and everyone runs back into the center grid and groups up into 4 separate and spread out groups. The groups should be spread, but not standing right on the edges of the inner circle, in order to avoid the blue beams when they hit nearby. A couple of steps away from the edges should be fine. 2 tanks and maxed out fire res poised ready to tag the 2 flames of Azzinoth, which will spawn 1 out of each of the twin blades of Azzinoth Illidan has just thrown down. Make sure each tank has 2 dedicated healers and a paladin in their group for fire res auras. So we have 4 groups spread out. One of them is a mobile melee group, and the other 3 ranged nukers. The reason we developed this grouping and positioning is because the more classic tactic used here is prone to making the flames of Azzinoth charge someone, and if they charge, they in range and go spaz. Also, this way the fireball's AoE will be contained and minimized. Okay, so here we see the phase 2 pop. See, Illidan throws down his twin blades, and from each one on either side of the circle, the elemental spawns. The tanks pick up a flame of Azzinoth each and kite them along this path, so as to mitigate the damage from the blaze ability. Always making sure they face the elementals away from the raid, of course. The whole idea when tanking the elementals is to never let them, or the raid, get too far away from the blaze they spawn from, or you can get charges and enraged problems from them. Illidan will be periodically nuking someone with Dark Barrage, so try to keep a nature swiftness rotation between the druids and shamans to quickly heal the damage from this. And of course he will be nuking with his fireballs too. When Illidan is zapping with his eye beam ability, no one must be caught up in it. During this phase you might want to pop a fire protection potion, and use your camera distance at max too. Phase 2 is Illidan's hardest phase, so just follow this positioning and you will get through it. See here how the tanks on the elementals kite them in such a way so as to avoid the eye beam. Copy this kiting technique exactly and you will have no problems here. Tanks can actually pass through the eye beam residue if they have to, just don't get hit by it directly when Illidan is actually casting it. A good way to tank the elementals is to kind of tank them in a big zigzag, going one way, then going back on yourself the way you just came, but a bit closer or further away to the center of the circle, so you don't just pass over the track you just made. 2 Flames of Azeroth are dead, so Illidan goes into phase 3. Main tank might want to use Iron Shield pots from here on in, they can help a lot. Phase 3 is the same as phase 1, but he has a new ability now, so everyone must be spread out, so they don't affect each other when someone gets hit by his agonizing flames ability he will use now. So carry on a la phase 1 and DPS him as much as you can until the phase 4 pops in 60 seconds time. Phase 3 is kind of the phase which phase 4 sits on, because phase 4 comes in and out now, every minute, when he will transform into his demon form, which he will do every 60 seconds, lasting for 30 seconds, then revert back to phase 3 again. So it goes like this, phase 3, 4, 3, 4, until you get him down to 30% HP.
Won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you come? Stuttering, cold and damp, steal the warm tired friend. Times are gone for honest men. Sometimes
The demon within!
Right, here comes his phase 4 demon within ability, where he transforms into a big black demon. When he does this, Mr. Warlock takes over tanking. Illidan's aggro resets every time he changes form, so everyone stops DPS and Mr. Warlock grabs aggro to tank. You might want to click off your Blessing of Salvation for this phase. Aura of Dread means melee have to back away and only range DPS him.
won't you come? Won't you come? Like all the sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Like all the sun, won't you come? Won't you come?
Demon within!
See how the tanking Warlock is ready in position for Phase 4. Phase 4 pops with Illidan transforming into his demon form, as you can see here. The Warlock is tanking him now and will need big healing. Melee keep away and all ranged DPS just get as much damage as you can into Illidan. Try to have a frost trap or totem or something ready when the 4 shadow demons spawn. And when they do, Warlock spam Seeds of Corruption on Illidan, and everyone else AoEs and or nukes the shadow demons down real fast. They must never reach anyone. Healers, don't let anyone's HP in the raid fall too low, because a flame burst will be coming. Shadow demons. Flame burst. Just remember, during this phase, everyone stays spread out and everyone stay max raid from Illidan possible. When his demon form is over, main tank picks him up again, of course, as we revert back to phase 3 again. As you saw just then, Illidan ran back to the Warlock. This is because he did a Shadow Bolt a bit too late, and thus got threat again in phase 3. So be ready with Blessing of Protection in case this ever happens. Remember, when Illidan transforms, he resets his aggro. Though on his last flame burst, stop DPS, and when he turns into normal form again, and shrinks a bit, that's when his aggro resets. This is when you want to misdirect to the tank. Flame burst. We carry on like this until Illidan is down to 30% HP, and then the last phase of the battle begins, phase 5.
Is this it, mortals? Is this all the fury you can muster?
Their fury pales before mine, Illidan. We have some unsettled business between us.
My head. How is it even possible?
Ah, my long hunt is finally over. Today, justice will be done.
this it, mortals? Is this all the fury you can muster?
Their fury pales before mine, Illidan. We have some unsettled business between us.
Try to get Illidan to 30% HP when he's out of demon form, and when there are no parasites alive, so you get a nice clean phase 5 pop with no problems. So Illidan imprisons the raid, and Maeve Shadowsong comes to help you kill Illidan. She will place traps on the ground, which if you can drag Illidan into them, you can stop him entering his enrage phases. But if the trap is placed in an awkward position and you can't really get to it, you can simply heal through the enrage phases and ignore the trap. Remember to keep spread out the whole time, and when kiting Illidan into any traps, make sure he never phases the raid or melee. If you do manage to trap him, nuke him hard because he takes extra damage when he's trapped in these special traps. So good luck with your Illidan kill. I hope you find this guide useful. Thanks for watching. Bye. Sayonara. When Illidan is zapping off his eye beam. So carry on a la phase 1 and DPS him as much as you can until the phase 4 pops in So carry on a la phase 1 and DPS him as much as you can until the first phase 4 pop in 16. When he does this, stop DPS. Now for the Parasite Shadow Fiend buff. Have a couple of maggots at the ready here over the side under the So here you can see someone with the it's Illidan's hardest phase. So just follow this position. Try to have a frost trap, an earthbind totems or something ready for when the 4 shadow demons. Can everyone stop calling me?